Today, George is going to walk us through some changes in 2411 coming up for notices and slips. I'm Christopher Brannon with the Coeur d'Alene Public Library and the Cooperative Information Network.
And I'm George Williams. I'm the Next Search Catalog Coordinator at Northeast Kansas Library System. Is it still the Cooperative Information Network?
It is.
Okay, I thought the name was changing soon.
It's going to be changing, but not yet.
Oh, okay. I look forward to that when we change our introduction for the first time. You'll be from someplace else, but it'll be the same place.
As do I, yes. So, George, what have you got for us today?
Well, we talked a bit. Over here is the koha-US webpage, and I don't know if you remember our conference in Austin 3 months ago or whenever that was.
So long ago.
But we talked. We recorded one of these videos live at that conference, and it's about an update on notices and slips. And we did talk a little bit. We previewed some of the things that we're going to be changing in 2411. Now that 2411 has been released, we can say some more things about that and maybe review some of the other things. I know if you watch that video, which is possible to watch every video from that conference on YouTube, but there's some parts of it where the sound isn't great. So I'll just reiterate some of those things. And so we'll talk about the first thing I wanted to mention is that I have updated the Koha Wiki. So all of the 2411 default notices that are installed when you install a brand new version of Koha 2411, all of those in the notices and slips library have been updated for 2411 on the Koha Wiki. And I added in, in the past when I've done this, I build the tables and I do all the stuff and get all the information in there. And I haven't really done anything else, but this time I thought I would add a little section here called quick information. So in 2411, there are 107 notices and slip templates. 28 of those notices are still using the Koha bespoke template syntax, which includes the hungry alligators. 70 of the notices are using template toolkit, and 9
which we're unofficially referring to as the tipsy owls, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I think it was Barbara called them, the tipsy owls, as opposed to the hungry alligators. So 70 of the notices are using exclusively template toolkit, and 9 of the notices are using some kind of combination of the two. So the community has done a lot. It's when you and I started using Koha, everything was the bespoke syntax, and they've moved a lot of stuff along to template toolkit. One of the existing notices was updated. That was auto renewals digest. And it was a really minor change. But one of the other things that I did when I updated the wiki is I made sure that if there was a change, I put a link in the notes to the bug number that talks about that change and what happened. And so this just fixes a really minor little thing in the auto renewal digest. And then there are 8 brand new notices and slips added. And I got that information from the Koha release notes. But there's bookings. Since the bookings module is taking off in 2411, there's 3 notices related to the bookings module. There's an OAR harvest report, which we don't do any of that, so I'm not going to be using that one. And then there's 2 SFTP, a failure and a success notice, which are the simplest notices I've ever seen. The whole notice is upload failed, upload succeeded. And then ticket assigned and transfer ownership. This is something that's also a new one. when you change the owner of a list from one person to another, this is the email that gets sent saying this list is being moved from ownership from one patron to another. And then one of the things that I didn't realize was happening is that there are 3 long-standing notices that the name of the module, when you go to the notices in Slips tool, there's this section called module. It's like all of these are patron related, these are reports related, these are circulation related. There's all the different modules. Some of the notices related to lists were kind of stuck in with other things. I think one of them was in members, and one of them was in circulation, and one of them was in catalog. And somebody created a new catalog or a new module called lists, and just pushed those 3 notices into that one module, so that will make them easier to sort if you sort by module in here. And it probably also might have something to do with changing where they're getting their information for in the templates in the Perl modules. I'm not sure about that, but and then as we were getting ready for this meeting and I was talking about this, I realized that there's documentation added to the Koha manual for 3 notices and slips, but 2 of them are the same. So I need to go in there and make an edit there because there's only documentation added for 2, but I've got 3 in the list and just 2 of them happen to be the same. Every time that, if we go to one of these, like a whole digest, I always put a link in there to the Koha manual. And where that goes in the Koha manual actually is into this section, existing notices and slips. Unfortunately, there's no way the list or the notice names aren't anchors in the manual. And so I can only anchor to this page heading.
That's as deep as it
Existing
goes.
notice and slips. That's as detailed as I can get when I create those links. But all of these have been rearranged into alphabetical order. They used to not be in alphabetical order, so having them in alphabetical order will make it easier for people to find. And I don't know who took care of making them all in alphabetical order, but it's awesome. Much easier to find things. And then there are still these 8 notices, 8 slips and notices that still don't have any documentation in the manual as of today. So hopefully by the time we upgrade to, I guess that'll be 2505, maybe these will all be documented. And all of these I'm happy to say that all of these are new except one, overdue slip, which has been around for ages, still doesn't have any documentation in the manual. So all of this information is there in the wiki now. There'll be a link on the screen so that make it easier for you guys to find. And the thing that I'm excited about in the notices and slips. So right now, so I'm going to use overdue slip as an example because I use it a lot. But if we go to this one, this is my Koha. So if we go in here and go to print, this is what I've got set up in mine as the print notice and slips for overdue slip. If I wanted to change this back to the original version, the way that I would do that is I would have to go to the wiki. I would have to find overdues slip.
And make sure it's the right format for print.
Yep. Make sure that I've got overdue slip print. This is what I need. And then I would just have to copy and paste this into Koha. So I've gone to a sandbox and I've saved my existing Neckles overdue slip onto
Hey, there's a new button.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to talk about. So in the current version, that button isn't there. The button here now is view the default. So instead of, if I wanted to change this back to the default, instead of going to the wiki and copying and pasting, I can click this button here and it will show me what the default notice and slip is for that particular one. And I can even click on copy to template, and it actually takes that original template and it plugs it in here into the box. And then all I've got to do is click on save, and I have just reset that back to the default notice and slip that was in there when Koha was installed on the sandbox.
Nice.
And so that's something actually that I'm excited about because it just speeds up that process.
Can you pull up one of the notices that's more lengthy by default, like overdues or something? I don't know if there's one that's particularly lengthy. I'm just curious about something.
No, that one's not particularly lengthy. I think the welcome one, I saw it a second ago. There it is.
Okay. Can you do view the default?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's,
It does seem to, the scroll bar cuts off the last line in there.
yeah, so you can't really see all of it, and you have to scroll horizontally. It would be nice if in the future, if that
If that modal was adjustable.
Yeah, I don't mind if if you have to scroll up or down, but usually with modals, if the content is too great for the size of the screen, the modal will go past the screen. You scroll the whole screen, which is fine. But it would be nice to be able to see it without a lot of the people just don't like the horizontal scrolling. I hate it.
Right. Sounds to me like there's an opportunity for you to create a bug in Bugzilla.
Absolutely. But I mean, this is a huge improvement, so I'm not going to squawk.
Yeah, don't complain too
this.
much. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if you're going to go in, if you're going to have a button that says view, you want to be able to view it in a nice way. And I was noticing that in your first view of that shorter template,
it's only
I couldn't tell if it was
template.
running off. It was just running off or down or whatever. And I wasn't seeing the whole thing. And so, if you want to view it, it's kind of, yeah, see, it looked like it was running off and it wasn't evident that there was a scroll bar, and I saw that line and it's a little weird. So
the scroll bar is a little
we'll see some improvement in that, the viewability of that, because I like the fact that, yeah, you can go in just to view it, which is nice. And if you wanted, I imagine you could probably copy and paste certain pieces from it.
Probably.
I mean, so like if I wanted to, yeah. So you could copy and paste out of there without having to actually override everything that you just put in there. So maybe if you're referencing something from the original, that's kind of handy.
Yeah. So, but yeah, this is a nice improvement. So less steps to get back to the original template if you want to get back to the original template.
Yeah, very nice.
So I look forward to that in 24.11 when we upgrade.
Well, George, thank you very much for sharing that. And thank you for all the work that you put in on the wiki. That's really helpful. I'm sure many people will find that handy. It's nice to have something as complete as that to refer to. I know that we have some stuff in the manual, but to have those original templates there is really handy. And now that 24.11 is going to have access to those templates, that's going to be even more useful.
You know what, I think one of the useful things that could be done to make the templates more interesting would be to add them to Mana.
Yeah,
because that would be a way to share templates. There is, on the wiki, we've got, this is the notices and slips library for 24.11. These are the defaults, but there is just a general notices and slips library. And I know that you've got custom notices and you've added some of those to the the wiki, and I've added some to the wiki.
Yeah,
But when you actually look at what's on the wiki, most of the things that have been added, there's a section for acquisitions, catalog, circulation, claims, holds, ILLs, patrons.
it's really hit and miss.
Yeah, but if you go to like the other than, 90% of them are circulation. There are no cataloging. There are no acquisition examples of things people have customized. 90% of what's on here is circulation related. And I understand why, because circulation is where you're generating a lot of notices and a lot of slips. But it'd be nice to have more stuff out there. So if you have custom notices and slips and you want to share them with other people, the wiki is a great place to do that. And if you don't know how to use the wiki, how to create an account there, how to add things to the wiki, we did a video on that with Heather Hernandez last year. So go look up that video and fire some more notices and slips into the notices and
Yeah,
slips library.
absolutely. And going back to what you were just saying, I like the idea of I don't know if it's pronounced mana or mana or what, but um, if they were to do something like that, whoever is working on that, what I would love to see, because the templates vary between different formats, if there was some sort of button within the formatting section. So, like if I was looking at SMS
Yeah.
and I wanted to look at what's out there on Mana for SMS templates for that particular thing, it would be nice if it was specific enough. It knows to go to a section. It's about overdues, and it's specifically the format for SMS, and give us that rather than just everything. Um,
Right.
so it'd be nice if it was a little smarter for that specific thing. I know that reports, it just goes to a huge library, but for this, if it could be smart enough to go into a specific section and specific format, that would save a lot of work for a lot of people. So if you're working on that out there and you want to have a mono library for those, I would suggest please do that. Please limit it. Please have it so that you can go into a specific template and check out the mono library, and it would go to that particular template and go to that particular format that you're looking into. That would
Right.
be
Okay.
really great. But anything out there that we can get to simplify sharing is always a plus. So don't, I'm not trying to limit anybody or make the project too big, but I love that flexibility and that ability to just go out there and get right to what you're looking for. So, well, George, thank you very much for sharing again, and thanks for all the work. And it's great to look ahead at the next version. I'm glad that we can share in the load in looking ahead, like Bywater does. Hopefully, we can do more of these to look ahead at future versions rather than what can we do with what's out there right now. So we'll do some more look aheads in the future. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see everybody again in 2 weeks.
We'll see you next time.